Hi, I'm Lisa Curcio.
And my name is Gina Curcio Holly, better known as her daughter.
And we welcome you to Lisa's Stamp Studio.
Today we're demonstrating a bay window card. And I love this card because it's easy to make and we have 6 samples to share with you today.
We sure do. This is a special YouTube premiere and we are so excited that you are here with us. We'd love to interact with you.
Yes, you can either interact with us in the live chat, which happens when you sign into your Gmail account. That's on YouTube, not on us. And interact with us live right now. We're in the chat with you. Or if you're watching this a little bit later, leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. And you're definitely going to want to stick around for the project sheet. That includes full color photos, cutting dimensions, and a complete supply list for all 6 cards. And you can easily find that in the video description below.
As a reminder, we would love to have you hit that subscribe button down below. And next to it, if you click that little bell icon and the word all, you'll get notifications or reminders here from YouTube when we are live or we upload a new video. Also, when tonight's video is over, if you have enjoyed what you see, we would appreciate a thumbs up. That helps us a ton here on YouTube. Ready to get started?
Let's go to the stamp table and get started.
We're going to start with a card base that measures 4 1/4 by 11, and the score lines are really easy for this.
Yeah, super simple.
Okay, so I'm going to use my paper trimmer. Don't you love this thing?
I love it. It's my daily workhorse.
Yeah, me too. And I love the fact that this cutting guide is clear. So if you need to get really close, you can, and you can see measurements on both sides, but this is the champ, isn't it? Both the scoring and the cutting blade stay on the track at the same time. And the other thing that I absolutely love is that they navigate up and down out of the way so you don't ever have to remove them. With a nice straight ledge here at the top, you're assured to get everything nice and even. So we're going to do our very first score line at 3/8 of an inch, which is here. I know that's going to be hard to see in the video because it's kind of far away from you, but we're going to do that score. And then we're going to scoot all the way over to 1 7/8 inch, which is here, and we are going to score. And then 3 5/8 of an inch, which is here. And then 5/8 of an inch, and here. Tell them not to panic. It's in the project sheet, right?
Yes, it's all in the project sheet.
And then 5 1/2 inches, which is here.
And the other thing I love is if you're not good with eighths, this is kind of the trick that I've taught myself. It goes 1, 3, 5, and 7.
Oh,
so it skips.
What a good idea. So show me how you did that on the trimmer.
So the 1 is obviously the first eighth, right?
Right.
And then the 3 is right before the half. And then the 5 is right after the half. And the 7 is right after the 3/4.
Good trick.
Thanks.
Good trick. I like that. Okay, we're ready to move on to folding. Now that we have that all cut, all you're going to do is you're going to fold it in half, which was that 5 1/2 inch mark.
And this is where your bone folder, my absolute favorite tool, comes in handy.
Really, really important. And this one here is going to be for the adhesive, right? We're going to do a binding here, kind of. All right, so the rest of these we're just going to kind of crease up on. So again, bone folder again, because I'm a big fan with that. You like the bone folder too, huh?
Oh, that's my favorite.
Now, I have a question for you about this.
Yeah.
Now, you've got yours folded. Why don't you bring yours in? Your card base is what color?
It's soft succulent.
Okay. You folded yours up.
Up.
Okay. I did, but I didn't use my bone folder.
Why?
Well, because my greeting wasn't shaped the same as yours, and I found that mine tucked a little bit better if I didn't crease it too much.
Okay.
So that's just something for our viewers to be able to take into consideration. But here comes the fun part.
This is the other interesting part. You didn't score this one.
I didn't yet. You were ahead of me. All right, so let's go ahead and do that now. All right, now we're ready to do the fun part.
Let's do the fun part.
Okay, so we're going to do some decorating, and I've got my pieces pre-cut. I'm using Heartwarming Hugs Designer Series paper, and of course, double-sided.
And I'm using Tidings of Christmas, which is also double-sided.
Love these, so pretty. So what we're going to do is adhere our panels. And again, just as a reminder, all these cutting dimensions are for you inside that project sheet. I am just going to add some adhesive here just along the width of this. So you have 2 panels here that are the exact same size. Typically, I like to turn this horizontally because
That's what I do.
I can't do anything straight. And this will allow me to kind of get it centered in between that panel. And then the center one is a little bit wider. We've got adhesive now for the second panel. That's going to go inside of here. I'm trying to align the top and bottom edges to the panel next to it. Do you do that as well?
Yeah.
Just so that it looks cohesive across there. And then, of course, this last strip as well, we're going to have adhesive here. You can see that this is not difficult. And, of course, that project sheet has all those cutting dimensions for you for these panels. All right, there we go. That looks pretty good. And we'll just press that all down. So pretty easy.
It's super easy.
The great thing about Pretty Designer Series paper Especially if you're using those ones with the foils. You don't have to do too much to
No,
this.
this is
that
not
could be the star
elaborate,
of the show. But we're gussing it up tonight
Yeah, we're gonna
because
have
we
fun.
can,
Yeah,
right?
we're gonna have some fun.
All right, so my next thing is I decided to do some snowbanks.
So did I.
I'm going to show you how I made my snowbanks here. So I cut this white cardstock scrap the same width as this panel. Again, that's in the project sheet. You're going to tear the paper towards you when you use this technique because that's going to give you that really cool, uneven edge.
I love
and you
that.
can see the fibers of the paper. Well, I took this a step further. Now, I did those other two ahead of time. Let me just move that out of the camera view and bring this in. So I've got a scrap piece of paper here. Then I took my Wink of Stella and I added a little shimmer to my snowbank. Okay, so the secret to the Wink of Stella is make sure you shake it each time that you use it. And then you might need to reprime the pen depending on how long it's been. But this one I just recently used. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to hold it up so you can see. I'm just going to go across the edge here. And I'm just going to kind of swirl it on top of here. And the more shimmer, the better. That's what I say. Can it ever be too glistening for snow, right?
And it's kind of hard to see, but it's beautiful.
I
in
know,
person.
it's so pretty. I don't think you can catch it on camera. The other thing about this is it has an alcohol base, so it's going to dry super duper fast.
I love that.
But I guess you did yours a little different.
I did mine a lot different.
You're going to try to show me up.
Yes, I am.
Okay, let's see what you did.
All right, so I already used the same technique as you. I did the tearing technique.
All right.
But here's where the fun part comes in. Okay, so I have my Versamark here, and all I'm going to do is open that up and then flip my pre-torn cardstock upside down. And there's no right or wrong way of doing this. I just tap it in there, but I don't want it to be even, so I want some edges tighter than others. That will give it more of a realistic look.
Awesome, awesome.
Now I'm bringing in my embossing powders. This is white, and we keep it in this container because if you've ever used embossing powders, you know it's a messy, messy thing.
It can be. So these containers with that little spoon works really, really good.
So then all I do is put it over, and then I just tap the excess off by flipping it over.
Perfect.
And then it may be hard to hear me over this, but all I'm going to do is turn this on.
Now there's 2 speeds to the heat tool. So you're using speed 2, correct?
Yes. You can use speed 1, just takes longer.
Okay, the nozzle on that heat tool really allows the heat to be directed in a certain position. The tool does get very, very hot. You can see that Gina's keeping the tool moving, which is making sure that we're not overheating any specific area.
Correct.
And then what happens to the powder?
It's going to basically liquidize?
It makes an enamel finish.
Yeah. All right, so we zoomed you in pretty far, but this is what it looks like after you're done embossing.
What's even cooler is the way
texture.
It feels.
So I've already gone ahead and done all of my snowbanks for you. They look like this.
Okay,
And
the easy way.
The easy way. They're both really pretty, to be honest.
They are. They're really cool. Let's go ahead and let's put these pieces on and let's show them what we're going to do next.
Sounds good.
I'm going to start with the snowbank on this panel because I'm actually going to mount something on top of it, but I'm going to do a little bit different on the other. So I'm going to turn this upside down. I'm just going to add a little adhesive to the back side, and then I'm going to come all the way down to the designer series paper here.
That's awesome. And all I'm doing is adding some regular size dimensionals to these snowbanks to give mine a little bit of definition because you're about to see that we're going to tuck some fun things behind there.
Yep, that's why I'm doing this adhesive not close to the top. I'm leaving a little bit of room for this next panel. I'm going to put that one here, and then I've got one more for my last panel. Now, you seem to have more than 3 panels.
I'm layering them.
Oh, interesting. So that gives you a little added depth. Is that correct?
That's correct. I like when things pop. I'm a big pop person.
So dimensionals are your best friend, right?
Yeah, for sure. All right, what stamp set are you using?
I'm using Snowman Season. And guess what? This has a coordinating snowman builder punch. It's so cute.
So does mine. This is Peaceful Deer.
Uh-huh.
And it has a coordinating deer punch.
So cute. Okay, let me show you my punch. Now, you may look at these and think, oh, how do you get all these pieces out? But it's not difficult at all. You're just going to use strips of cardstock.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and let's do our stamping.
I'm using soft suede. I'm going to stamp my deer up in that.
And I'm going to be using Memento ink for mine because they're snowmen. So the stamp set has several snowman images. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp this one inside. And I'm going to place him. Actually, I'm going to put him over here.
Yeah, I was going to put mine towards the bottom.
And I'm going to show you why. Because
it's easier.
Right, with the punch. So
Yep.
I'm going to come inside and I'm going to place him inside of here. And I just cannot navigate him where he needs to go. Now, it's going to leave a nice little white border all the way around, which I love. And here's a little tip for you. Did you know that you can just slightly press down on the punch and it locks your cardstock in spot, and then you're going to squeeze.
I'm using the same technique as my mom. I'm just going to slightly squeeze it so I can line up everything in the deer. It's really important to get his little legs all lined up because he's a little bit more whimsical than the snowman that she just used. And when it looks good, just punch. Super easy.
Now, my card has several other snowman images that are all included in the stamp set. So these actually have a collage of images with them.
Yeah.
But I did do a little fussy here. I created just a little bit of a scene. So I stamped him and I just cut around just the snowman.
Oh, that's smart.
And it wasn't hard. Now, you might
Yeah.
be looking at those stick arms thinking, oh, no way. And it wasn't hard at all. But there's another stamp for this as well. Let me show you that one. That looks like this. This one actually is holding snowballs. And I'm just going to flip this over because obviously I have these cut out for you ahead of time. And I stamped him here. And again, I just used the snowman image and I omitted the snowflakes.
That's cute. And mine, I went ahead and took the trees from that stamp. I used all the sizes if you are wondering, because I'm going to do a little bit of layering. I'm using Evening Evergreen. I'm going to use the largest tree just to kind of show you what I did here. Stamping that on some basic white cardstock. And then I took my paper snips. I think I've done every single project where I fussy cut. So
you like to fussy cut.
I do like to fussy cut.
You like to fussy cut.
And the trick to fussy cutting is to not be too hard on yourself. So just kind of follow the lines that are there. So I'm just going in and out, not getting too close, leaving a little white margin. And then when you do that all the way around, you're going to end up with something that looks just like that.
Yeah, so the key is to leave that white cardstock around it.
Yes.
Don't ever try to cut on that stamp line.
No.
That's too hard.
I'm going to start assembling. I'm actually using my Titan tray. I love these Titan
know,
trays
it's great.
because it keeps not only little pieces that you cut out, but also all of my magnetic dies in this tray.
Yeah.
Especially those little small magnetic dies. Those are excellent. Those are in our craft room favorites. The link is down in the video description below. Amazing stuff in there.
Yeah, the great thing about this, look at this. Look at the size of the magnet on the size of it.
I know.
And this is going to take all those small dies that you're forever losing and keep them in one place.
Excellent.
So I like to store my little pieces in there too.
Me too. So while I start to assemble my project, you have a little bit of assembling to do too, huh?
I do. Now with these builder punches, you might be looking, well, how do I get the hat and the arms? So I'm going to talk you through that really, really quick. One thing that I do with a builder punch is I actually create a template. I keep it inside the coordinating stamp set.
So smart.
So here I just punch from a scrap piece of cardstock. So I know that when I go to stamp the hat, it's got to go kind of like this way. So it's going to fit in the punch perfectly.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take this, I'm going to slide this right inside my punch, and there you go. You're going to get your hat super duper easy. Now the same thing with the arms. Now when you go to use these little stick arms, I look again at my template. I'm going to use this one because it's going face up. That's just easier for me. And I'm going to place that guy here. And then once again, I'm going to come back inside my little punch and just line him up. Making yourself a template is the easiest thing. And then just keep it inside your stamp set with a glue dot and then you're set. And
You do the work once.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you have it.
Back over at my project, all I'm doing is putting a variation of regular dimensionals and mini dimensionals on these trees, depending on how thick or thin that piece of paper is at the back. Now all I'm doing is just tucking them slightly underneath those snowbanks, because remember, all we did was put dimensionals on the lower half of those snowbanks, so we're making a really cool scene.
It's pretty, pretty. Now, my snowman obviously needs an orange nose, and I did use my Stampin' Blends markers for this. There's a chisel tip, which is a lot smaller, but I will tell you, you can use a die-based marker here. This is such a tiny area, there really isn't much to highlight or to die, but I do take the darker marker and I come just a little bit across the bottom just for some highlights there. Now, one little trick for you. Sometimes white is just too white, and I know you're kind of far away, so just bear with me here. I take that marker and I go right along the outside. This is the light pool party marker. That gives us just a little bit of definition. Now, if that is still too dark for you, this is where that color lifter comes into play. Give that a couple seconds for that alcohol base to evaporate, and then you're just going to come over it with the lifter, and what that's going to do is as that alcohol processes, that's going to come lighter, become more shadowed. So I did those all ahead of time just to save some time. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my pieces. So I'm going to use dimensionals for my first little snow guy, and he's going to go right here on top of this mound. Let's let him balance a little bit. I think that's going to be fun.
Cute.
Keep him within the area of the score lines. That's really, really important because of this bay window technique. Now on this one is where I actually built my snowman with the arms. So let me show you what I did here. So I'm going to add a dimensional here, not too close to the bottom, because remember, we're going to tuck him.
Right.
You know, after seeing your card, I'm kind of wishing I would have done dimensionals there. That kind of would have made this a whole lot easier. I don't know why I didn't think of that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tuck him here like so, and I have his hat. And we're going to add another dimensional here. And then I'm going to add his hat here near the top. Now, for the arms, this is where your take your pick tool is going to come into play. Don't make this super fussy. This is where I'm going to use several drops of liquid glue, but I've got a great tip for you. The multi-purpose liquid glue is amazing, but
it's not always amazing because you can't get into those small detailed areas very well.
Like look at that. Yeah. So I squirted this inside one of these precision tip bottles. Also one of our
lifesavers,
craft room favorites.
Yep.
So this rubber band was a tip from a YouTube viewer. Thank you for that. So I'm just going to shake this to get it down to the tip, and I'm going to test it here on my silicone craft sheet, but I want to show you how tiny I can get those dots. So all I did was I added a little tiny dot right here to the back. I'm trying to keep it within your camera view. And then if it's too much, like I did just there, I'm going to go ahead and just tack his little arm here. Cute. And then your take your pick tool is a great thing. Guess what? You see that little puddle right there? Watch.
Pick it up.
We're just going to pick it up, scrub off if it's too much, and then just stick those here. And then just let it sit for just a couple seconds. It dries really, really quickly. Now, the other thing I love about this is that the lid for this is silicone. So once you cap it, this is going to be perfect every time.
It never dries out.
Never dries out. It's fantastic. Got to have these great stocking stuffers for your crafting friends, by the way.
Now I'm going to continue. I just have one more part of my card that I need to get here on the bay window, and that is my deer. I know she just mentioned to keep all of your images within those score lines, but I actually didn't.
Well, because the center one, I think, do you have a little room in the center?
No, mine kind of hang off.
Do they? Okay. I kind of try to keep mine within there, but I guess you're right because we're going to turn this into a bay window, right?
Yep.
Now, the secret to this card is the inside and how it all comes together.
Right.
Let's go ahead and let's work on that next.
Let's do that. All right, so let's assemble the inside. We do have a pre-cut piece of designer series paper, and we both have a pre-cut piece of basic white for your messages to whoever you're sending this to. Let's go ahead and adhere these together. She's gonna go ahead and start with her designer series paper, but I actually did my basic white first because I find that sometimes it's easier to assemble everything that goes together first and then adhering it at the bottom.
Right. Well, I did it a little bit different. So I positioned my paper all the way over here because I knew that part of that area was going to be covered by the binding. You know, this is what I love about stamping with another person because you learn different ways of doing the exact same thing. It doesn't mean that it's right or it's wrong. Keep in mind, we have not sealed this yet. Gina's is going to come over a little bit further. I love this because I got to use a piece of scrap I had. I've got a smaller piece of white cardstock for the inside. I'm going to just bring in a scrap piece of paper here, and I'm going to use the Pool Party ink. And from that same stamp set, there are snowflakes. So I'm going to stamp some here at the top, and I'm going to stamp some here at the bottom. I'm going to switch over now to the Memento black ink to do my grading, and I'm stamping that same stamp set. Those images are all from the same place. Gotta love a stamp set that has everything inside of it.
And I already did mine. I actually don't have a sentiment on the inside because I love to write long messages. And sometimes I feel like the sentiment kind of takes over the room. So you don't always have to put a sentiment. Remember that.
Right. And also a great place for a family photo for Christmas cards. Great.
Yep.
I'm going to do my binding next.
Let's do that.
Before I do my greeting. And again, Gina and I are doing them a little bit different. So I am going to place that right here inside the scored area because I don't trust myself if I put it on the other side. And then tear and tape for a reason. So you just put your nail there. You're going to want to make sure that you burnish that paper backing into your cardstock. And then this is where my take your pick tool comes into play once again. And then I can just pull that off very, very easily. And then just like a book, we are going to close up that binding. So now this opens.
And it's not flapping around everywhere.
Right. Yeah. Fantastic. Now my designer series paper comes right to the edge. So I've got an equal border all the way around. Gina's goes all the way beyond the binding.
Yep.
Doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just different, right? Okay, so my greeting is going to get adhered here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add adhesive to the back side of this while Gina seals hers. I'm trying to keep equal margins at the top and the sides here, so I'm moving this all the way over. So go ahead, let's open yours. And you can see how they look different, but doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just different. Now, we're going to talk about the closure for this. That's what's going to make this bay window. Now, ahead of time, I took the liberty of cutting some panels. Did you?
I already adhered mine.
Look at you, way ahead. So I'm going to take my Let It Snow, again, same stamp set, gotta love that. I bordered it on some red, but I thought it was going to be lost on that designer series paper. So I added another layer of white. I mean, I just love layers. I think that's probably one of my problems. But now, this is the secret of putting it together. dimensionals.
Right.
Now for me, I put the dimensionals at the top and the bottom. What did you do?
I put mine all the way on the right-hand side, or when you flip it over, it's going to be on the left.
So I did top and bottom, okay? And I'm going to take off my paper backings. I want to see how yours closes. I know they probably think that we practice this together, but we don't. So we really are stamping together, so this is fun. I am going to move mine all the way to the edge of the designer paper. What are you doing?
I'm kind of doing that too. I'm kind of mimicking where that small score line I did.
Okay.
And putting it up. I don't open mine all the way.
You don't?
No. And then I just kind of place it.
All right, so I'm all the way edge to the designer paper. Remember, my dimensionals are here, so this is free. And then I am going to tuck like so. But here's the best part. Look at how cute this is. Cute. I love this. And it's really, really quite easy.
Yes, it's super easy. And the best part about this is it lays flat for mailing.
I know, and this fits perfectly in an A2 size envelope for mailing and no extra postage.
No extra postage. And then when they get it, they just pop it up.
So cute. It's going to look great on a Christmas mantle, isn't it?
It's going to be gorgeous.
But we've got other samples for you that are not necessarily Christmas. So let's show those.
Let's show them. All right. So I couldn't help myself. I had to make another scene. So I did Well Done.
So cute. I love this.
And you can kind of see that I actually stamped right onto the designer series paper using those fish.
Cute.
And I did put a sentiment inside
Look
of that
at that. Really, really cute. And again, that designer series paper allows you not to have to create another border here, so it really pops.
Yep, exactly.
Super cute. I used my favorite stamp set called Plentiful Plants.
I love this stamp set.
And I love the stamp set because it's for guys or girls.
Yep.
And super easy to use, and you can use the designer series paper that coordinates, so you don't have to stamp. And so there, cute. I did my inside on that one. Look at those little copper embellishments.
Love it.
Love that.
And for my last one, I used Flowers of Friendship, which also uses a builder punch.
Love this. So pretty, and the colors are so soft. Again, a card that could be for sympathy, get well, anything.
Exactly.
Birthday, really, really pretty.
Yes.
Gorgeous designer series paper. My last one uses Measure of Love. So cute. I love anything black with anything.
Yep, me too.
Black and red, black and yellow, black and pink. It really
cute.
Creates a statement card. This was not difficult at all. I did use the Stampin' Blends markers to color these in, but you can see there's a solid image here, so you could obviously fill the bowl with that. But
adorable.
I did mine just a little bit different and
I
created those. So we would love to know your favorites.
Yes.
Do us a favor right now.
Leave us a comment below, letting us know which is your favorite. If you have multiples, even better.
And tell us what occasion you think you're going to make your next bay window card for. That card was a lot of fun.
I loved making that card because there's so many different things that you can do with it.
Absolutely. Those panels give you lots of opportunity to create scenes or just put pretty flowers.
And don't forget to grab the project sheet before you go. It's in the video description down below.
If you click that link, it will take you over to the website where you can download it, save it, or print it to your computer.
That stuff is really helpful.
It is, and we hope all the tips and tricks that we shared with you today are going to be helpful for you to make your own bay window card.
And many of you have been asking when are we going to be doing a live together, and we heard you, and we're going to be doing a live in January 2022 together.
I finally convinced her. We know we have a great viewing audience, and I know that she's going to be well received. We look forward to having you join us then. But guess what?
Before January happens,
I will be back live with you right here on my YouTube channel next Wednesday. Yes. That is November 10th, and you are not going to want to miss what I have in store for you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Have a good night.